You're listening to the Telltale Channel. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check out my Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Here we go. Got a real-time unboxing. It's Okay to Be White by Stu Peters. It's a book, a children's book written by Stu Peters. It's Okay to Be White. I ordered it from Amazon because I wanted to see how absolutely disgusting, vile, and evil this thing is. So let's talk about it. Stu Peters wrote a book titled It's Really Fun to Be White. This is obviously clear as day, not even a racist dog whistle. This is just him being racist. So I want to read the book. It's a children's book. It's Okay to Be White. That is wild. But before we read this insane book, let me tell you who Stu Peters is if you're unfamiliar. Just give you an idea.
This country doesn't have a racism problem. We don't have a gun problem. We don't have a poverty problem that's causing mass violence. What we have here is a black problem. We have a problem with black crime. This is a group of people.
Notice how he phrased that, people, in air quotes, if you will. He is a racist, vile piece of shit, and he revels in that fact. He blames Jews for everything, at every turn.
I have also been barred today from the Norfolk, Virginia VFW, where the USS Liberty veterans had moved my speech to during the memorial service for their fallen brothers, who again were murdered by Israeli Jews. The local media, they're now calling up a bunch of cocks to go on the news and cry and kvetch. Get me the closest rabbi. Bring him to me now. We need the rabbi on the news to talk about how dangerous I am, to talk about how prolific of an anti-Semite I am.
He is. I don't know why he's even pretending otherwise. He is a prolific anti-Semitic extremist nutcase. I mean, really, really vile, disgusting shit that this guy believes. You know, if people say Alex Jones should be deplatformed, this guy is 15 times worse than Alex Jones. He is a Nazi. Hitler-loving, Sieg-heiling, reads Mein Kampf on an airplane, Nazi. He's worse than Nick Fuentes, believe it or not. And a while back, Newsweek said that he said Hitler was a hero, and he sued them for that. Listen to this.
Yesterday, Newsweek called me a pro-Hitler Nazi. Raw Story called me a pro-Hitler Nazi. I don't know how these people get away. I mean, they said that I was a Holocaust denier.
He absolutely is.
Just completely false, emphatically false. As a matter of fact, they made up a quote out of whole cloth and said, Stu Peters said, quote, Hitler is a hero. I have never said any such thing. And they can print this stuff with impunity because the hubris is so, because there's no...
Well, because of free speech, of course. An absolute defense to defamation is the truth. So did he say Hitler is a hero? Yes.
It was war. Horrific things happened. Lots of people died. It was World War II. I don't believe that World War II happened as a result of the Holocaust. I don't believe that that was the reason for the war. And I'm asking a lot of questions about that. People don't like when I ask a lot of questions about that.
No, I've said this before. I had a lot of questions about World War II and about Nazis and everything. And I went in search of the answers, and I found them. And that was the end of my questions. They were answered. Stu Peters is framing statements in the form of a question. He's saying things like, were there really 6 million Jews that died? Yes. Yes, there were. Unequivocally, beyond question. Absolutely. The commandant of Auschwitz himself testified to killing at least 2.2 million at Auschwitz alone. There were 6 million, yes. We have 4.3 million names recorded in the Yad Vashem database. He's not asking questions. He's making statements.
Hitler may have been an evil dictator, a ruthless person that murdered millions of people. I don't know because of the propaganda that surrounds every war. But
oh yeah, it's unknowable, right? We can't possibly know if Hitler was a bad guy.
Wasn't he a hero?
I'm sorry, step back.
Ruthless person that murdered millions of people. I don't know because of the propaganda that surrounds every war. But for this, wasn't he a hero? Wasn't Hitler doing the right thing when he ordered these books to be burned and these places to be stormed by force?
Is that not him saying Hitler was a hero? That's exactly what that is, right? I didn't hear about that lawsuit going anywhere. So I'm assuming that he lost the suit. That I would, be completely surprised if he didn't lose the suit. It would be one of those things where it was so groundbreaking of a defamation suit decision that it would have completely upended the way that we understand defamation in the United States. And I haven't heard of a suit like that in a long time, so I'm sure that he lost it. But the point is that he's a Nazi. And he said, and I'm going to say it, and I don't care if I get sued, he said, wasn't Hitler a hero? Apparently leading us to believe that Hitler was a hero in his mind. Vile, evil human being. Seriously. Evil shit. And he wrote a book, a children's book of all things. A children's book. It's really fun to be white. So let's read it. It's time to enjoy some real fun with balloons. Long before you were born, God put together a unique recipe just for you. Notice the white box. See if I can zoom in. It's hard to read. He included many ingredients that would make you special. And just like putting a gift into a box, he put all those distinct traits into you. Then he wrapped it all up with a beautiful colored skin called white. How fun is that? You were brought to... I'm sorry, let me just... I have the book right here. It's hard to read when it's tiny, but I'll have it pulled up so you guys can see it too. You can follow along here. You were brought to life with the gifts and skin God gave you. Those special traits formed the person you are today. And your birth was so joyous that even the angels danced in heaven. That is so fun to think about. So I don't have a problem. I mean, I have a problem with the religious indoctrination going on here. But so far, it's just saying, like, you're special. Okay, I that's fine. I don't care. Tell children that all you want. Your skin color is shared by many in the world. They share some of the same God-given ingredients as you. That is one reason we feel a sense of belonging when we play or interact with people who have the same skin tone. Okay, now it's going off the rails. Our shared skin tone makes up our culture, history, customs, and traditions. Being part of a culture and tradition is really fun. Holy fucking shit, dude. Your skin color is shared by many in the world. They share some of the same God-given ingredients as you. Is that implying that those with different skin tones don't have the same, don't have God-given ingredients, or don't have the same God-given ingredients that make you loved by God or whatever? When we play or interact with people who have the same skin tone. Wait, that is a reason we feel a sense of belonging when we play or interact with people who have the same skin tone. You know, skin tone, race is completely fabricated. It's not real at all. It's a pseudo-scientific ideology from the 1700s. Before evolution came along or anything, primarily invented by Carl Linnaeus, a botanist. Racial ideology was created to oppress people. Now, there was ethnocentrism before that. You know, Greeks had a word for non-Greeks, barbarian, I believe. But race didn't exist the way we understand it today. And when it didn't exist at that time, in the 1500s, people didn't understand it like that. Like, think of it this way. Do you have a problem with people with gray hair? Do you feel that they're different from you? Do you feel more comfortable hanging out with people who have the same hair color as you or the same eye color? Of course not. Nobody cares about your eye or hair color. It's irrelevant. You don't even pay attention to it. I don't even know what my best friend Brian's hair color is because he's always got a hat on. If he has hair under there, maybe he's Tim Pooling it. Anyway, the point is, this is completely fabricated. When we play or interact with people who have the same skin tone, we feel we have a sense of belonging. No, that's racism. That is racism. Pseudoscientific ideological trash invented 300-400 years ago to oppress people that you don't like. And he's drilling this into children. Dude, this is disgusting. Sadly, the world has some angry people. Of course, it's the black kid that's angry, yeah. Those people are called the meaningtons. No matter where we go, some of the meaningtons criticize the skin God gave you. Nobody is telling you being white is wrong. Nobody has ever said that, okay? No one on the left believes that. I'm on the left. I don't believe that. And he's portraying it as though he's a victim. Like Stu Peters is the victim here. And he's portraying black people, of course, as angry and mean all the time. Criticize the skin... Wait. No matter where we go, some of the meaningtons criticize the skin God gave you. They say white isn't a color, white is nothing. Who the fuck says that? I've literally never heard that in my entire life, ever. That's not fun at all, is it? Do you know that there are some uncontacted tribes out there, and they're predominantly black? And if you go out there and like they've contacted some of these tribes, the Sentinelese, for example, are very dangerous. You can't go contact them all willy-nilly. But anyway, usually when they see white skin for the first time, they try to rub it off, like they think it's a powder on you or something. It's kind of funny. All right, here's the next page. The meaningtons try to make you feel your skin color is inferior, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The color of your skin is a unique gift that God gave to you. Okay, no one is trying to make you feel inferior for having white skin. Nobody believes that you're inferior for having white skin, first of all. And second, the color of your skin is a unique gift that God gave to you. I can tell the direction he's going already. He's going to say, it's the exact opposite. You are superior. That's what Stu Peters believes, of course. I don't know if he's going to put it in this children's book. Maybe that's a little too on the nose, but that is what he believes. Just a reminder, I would really appreciate it if you guys checked out my Patreon. If you're not going to donate, you don't have to, but follow me there at the very least. owenmorgan.com/Patreon. Just in case something happens with the government or whatever. It would be really good if you had some way to connect with me and my content. I'm really concerned about that, and maybe you should consider that for other creators too. Throughout history, many people who share the same skin tone as yours, have accomplished great things. Ask your parents to teach you about people who have the same culture and traditions as you, because it's fun to discover how your identity fits into the world. Why do you want their identity to be white? Why do you want that to be the center of their identity? That's like telling a kid that their identity should be about having blue eyes, or green eyes, or blonde hair. Why should it center around race? It shouldn't, is the answer, of course. It shouldn't center around race. It should have nothing to do with race. People are people. Skin color is irrelevant to intelligence or whatever else. You know, there's this argument. It's called 1350, the 1350 argument. 13% of the population commits 50% of the crimes. The black population makes up 13% of the population, and they commit 50% of murders, I believe, or something to that effect. They've cherry-picked this number. The question at the end of the day is, why? Why is any statistic higher for black people than for white people? It can be for one of two reasons. It can either be, a social construct, something that happened as a result of society, in which case we can fix it. You know, maybe there's poverty. Poverty is a leading indicator of crime. And if that's the case, then we can rise them up out of poverty. We can, make the government the employer of last resort, give them jobs, working on roads and bridges, fixing our infrastructure or whatever, paying good money. That's an option. That could be a form of reparations. Try to raise them up out of poverty to bring an end to crime, right? So that's one possible explanation for why the crime rate is disproportionate between black people and white people in some statistics because of social problems. The other possibility, it is a dichotomy, is it's genetic. They're genetically inferior. And if you believe that, you're a Nazi. That's what the Nazis believed, and it's incorrect, just factually incorrect. We are not genetically different in that way. In fact, I have more in common with a black person than I do with, an Irish person or whatever. Genetic similarities or genetics are more similar between races than within races. Race is fake. I can't drill this home hard enough. Race is not real. There are different parts of the world where having white skin is not very common, but maybe that's what makes you special. The color of your skin came from your mother and your father, and the special recipe that God created just for you. Being unique makes life super fun. Being good friends with someone takes time and commitment. When skin color becomes a problem, it makes friendships harder. When the fuck is skin color a problem? Who is skin color a problem for? You know who it's a problem for? I'll show you. This is Nick Fuentes.
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry. It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
So who's focused on race exactly? Stu Peters. Who's focused on race?
This country doesn't have a racism problem. We don't have a gun problem. We don't have a poverty problem that's causing mass violence. What we have here is a black problem. We have a problem with black crime. This is a group of people.
Who is the problem here? Who is bringing race into the conversation, Stu? This is vile shit. Being good friends with someone takes time and commitment. When skin color becomes a problem, it makes friendships harder. This stands in the way of a friendship between us. It's never fun when someone is critical of our white skin. It's never fun when you're critical of black skin. Why the fuck are you doing this? It can be difficult to understand the lives of those unlike ourselves, and so the meaningtons can often find fault in our skin tone. Never let anyone's criticism steal your self-worth because of the color of your skin. There's real fun in being who God intended you to be. Let's consider all the fun items in the world that are white. This is like straight up Nazi shit. Seriously. Do you know why we don't have a white Pride Day? Because being white is notable and known for only one thing. You want to have an Irish Pride Day? Go for it. You want to have a German Pride Day? Go nuts. But being white is notable for one reason and one reason only. Because of its ties to the KKK. Whiteness, being white, is a construct that was created with the sole intention to demonize people that they don't like. There is no basis in reality for the concept of whiteness. It is all about hate. Again, you want to be German and have pride in that? Fine. Great. Fantastic. Throw a party. Be German. Have a German Pride Day. But being white is completely and totally about racism. Being German is not. Being white is. Let's consider all the fun items in the world that are white. What is that? Is that golf balls? They're all distorted. They don't look round on the page either. Like, I know they don't look exactly round on the screen. They're not round on the page. I don't know what... Are they eggs? Sideways eggs with little... I don't know what that is. Paper? Vanilla ice cream? Baseballs? Okay. Whipped cream? Fantastic. All right. There are white animals like sheep and seagulls, dogs and doves, and polar bears. Every day, we eat yummy white foods such as milk, coconut, bread, flour, sugar, and everyone's favorite, marshmallows. Marshmallows are pretty fucking metal. I will give him that one. That's a W. Okay? I don't understand the point here. Nature contains white things like dandelions, salt, frost, foamy seawater, snow, ice, and clouds. Yeah, okay. And let's not forget about concrete, marble, feathers, sand, cotton, and lace, which are white. Fantastic, all right? Just like any other color, white is a color. The white, well, I mean, that's a little up in the air. Technically, I suppose one could say it's a color, but if we're going to get down to the technicalities, right, there's additive color and there's subtractive color. Additive colors would be like pixels, like light, LEDs or whatever. You add red and green, you get yellow, I think. You add blue and green, you get purple, I think. No, I don't know my color wheel. Anyway, and then there are subtractive colors like paint. With additive colors, you add them all together and you get white. With subtractive, you add them all together and you get black. So there's that. White is a color. The white you see on your TV screen is a mix of red, green, and blue light. Yeah, he's talking about additive colors, right? But if you subtract all the colors away on subtractive color scales, then you get white. The color white may appear to be absent of a particular color. Surprisingly, it's a unique blend of all colors. Wow, now that's a fun fact to learn. Well, it's an incorrect fact because that's really interesting, isn't it? Like, that kind of puts it into perspective. The guy is looking for some way to make being white a certain thing, and he has found that thing, completely ignored everything around it. Subtractive colors mean white is the absence of all colors. Additive colors means white is, anyway, whatever. Did you know that sunlight is really white? Descending from heaven, it scatters in the air and finally turns yellow. Okay, I don't think that sunlight is yellow in the first place. I think that's the caricature that people put in children's books of it. Hold on. No need to wonder. Just loaded up our question gun. Let's go answer hunting. The sun's light does contain all visible wavelengths and appears roughly white when viewed from space. When sunlight passes through Earth's atmosphere, it does appear more yellow/orange. Scattering is involved in this effect. So there you go. In the most technical sense, yes. All right, next page. When you go to sleep at night, you might listen to a machine that makes white noise. Like white light, it's called that because it combines all sound pitches. I'm not sure that's why they call it that, but whatever. Sun and sleep and noise that's white. How fun. This is fucking vile. Being proud because you're a particular color doesn't mean that you don't like other colors. Wow. I can't believe, like, seriously, you say this in your book, but you can't connect those dots in other situations. You don't get that? That's not piercing your thick skull? It's not about being a certain color. Black pride isn't about being a certain color. Black pride is about the fact that these groups are persecuted in the United States. These minority groups are persecuted. It's not about having pride in your skin color. It's about having solidarity with each other and working together to protect each other because of the persecution. Now, what persecution are you fighting against, Stu? The ginger persecution? What? You must be comfortable in your skin and use the gifts that God put into you. A bunch of presents, okay. Because it is so much fun to open gifts. And again, if you notice, the gift is white. Every day, you'll wake up with the skin that God gave you. It is who you are, so why not enjoy it? Sometimes we want to be like everyone else, but you're exactly who you were meant to be. Wait, I don't understand. Do you think that everybody around you is black? I'm so fucking confused by this. Be proud of who you are. Enjoy the color of your skin. Love yourself even more than you love ice cream, swimming, and flying kites. You're remarkable, more than you know. You are made with very special ingredients, and people of your skin tone should celebrate who they are. Throw a party, jump up and down, because it is really fun to be white. And there's more to this that we're going to read in a second, but I feel that he's crossed the line into supremacy with this page. He already had, really, but he's fully crossed over on this page. You are made with very special ingredients. You are more remarkable than you know. People of your skin tone should celebrate who they are. It's not about being equal. It was never about being equal for Stu Peters. He is a white supremacist. Now, regarding the rest of the book, there's a section on the back here.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
Some of the greatest wisdom about your heritage comes from the people who lived before you were born, like your grandparents. For a fun activity, ask your grandma these questions. What country did our family come from? What 3 things are important about our culture? What is your favorite family tradition? When you were young, were there many Meaningtons? How did your hair become white? What makes you proud of who you are? What special ingredients do you see in me? Then perhaps you and your grandma can have a party celebrating the fun things you've learned about your culture. Fucking disgusting, dude. And even worse, there's a little section on the back here about Stu Peters. He is seriously an evil human being. He is as bad as they come. Dubbed the conspiracy kingpin by Rolling Stone and the next Alex Jones by the BBC, Stu Peters is a syndicated news personality, documentary filmmaker, public speaker, prolific noticer, and Overton window shifter. Okay. Originally a bounty hunter from Minnesota, Peters built an influential media empire and social media network during the fake pandemic by warning against the COVID-19 big weapon jabs. Oh my God, this is so stupid. And he's capitalized a bunch of shit randomly here. During the fake pandemic is capitalized, fake pandemic. Like it's a proper noun. Like it's a name of a thing. Or did you dig into like CIA files and find that was secretly the name of it? Fake pandemic? And big weapon is also capitalized. COVID-19 big weapon jabs that have been masquerading as safe and effective vaccines. Well, I got to tell you, Stu, I'm fine. And I got like 3 vaccines or something. I got like every booster. When I was asked to get a booster by the government, I went out and I got a booster. And
because right now stated the more
and for the record, there's a woman named Sherry Tenpenny. She's a conspiracy theorist to the core. And she was on Stu Peters, actually. Let me just show you. This is one of those videos from Sherry Tenpenny. Not on Stu Peters, but otherwise.
The more shots you get, the more you destroy your immune system and the faster that happens. And it's anticipated. The German data says...
What German data? The answer is none. There was no German data.
That by the end of 2022, Every fully vaccinated person over the age of 30 may
That's me.
have the equivalent of full-blown vaccine-induced immune-suppressed AIDS.
That is a tall claim. And a false claim at that. This is Sherry Tenpenny on Stu Peters.
Stated goal is to depopulate the planet, and the ones that are left either make them chronically sick or turn them into transhumanist cyborgs that can be controlled by and manipulated externally.
That's their stated goal. First of all, who is they? Are they in the room with us right now? And second, you're telling me that, I guess, the deep state, the government's stated goal is to depopulate the planet? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. That's just a lie.
By 5G, by magnets, by all sorts of things. Now, I got dragged through the mud by the mainstream media when I said that in May of last year in front of the House Committee in Columbus. Well, guess
Yeah, fucking magnets. How do they work? And I don't want to talk to a scientist. Y'all motherfuckers lying and getting me pissed.
what? It's all true. It's all true. They talk, the whole issue of quantum entanglement and how what these shots do in terms of the frequencies and the electronic frequencies
Bro, come on.
that come inside of your body and hook you up to the
That do what in your body?
Internet of Things, quantum entanglement that happens immediately after you're injected, and you get hooked up to what they're trying to develop. It's called the hive mind, and they want all of us there as a node and as an electronic avatar.
This is the type of shit that Stu Peters believes in. That's the point. He had Sherry Tenpenny on, and she spouted off this garbage. And he agreed with her, of course. Anyway, back to his little description here. Stu Peters is well regarded as the linchpin that made discussing the Jewish question mainstream. You know, the Jewish question is a term that comes directly from Hitler. Like, Hitler used that term all the time, the Jewish question. It translates to the immigrant problem. That's what it meant, the immigrant problem. And it was about the fact that Hitler believed that Jews were controlling the world. And the answer to the Jewish question in Hitler's mind was to kill them all. That was the answer to the Jewish question. So when he says Jewish question, he means murdering, like a new Holocaust. That's what he means. He should be and probably is banned in Germany for this type of shit, because that is absolutely unacceptable. Like, not just denying the Holocaust, but actually calling for the deaths of Jews and calling for another Holocaust. That's wild. Even being labeled as the guy who radicalized Candace Owens. His documentary, Occupied, gained millions of views in its first week after being released. It was an anti-Jewish documentary about Palestine, framed from the perspective of Israel is doing terrible things to Palestine. And that's true, but he doesn't give a shit about Palestine, first of all. In fact, he hates Arabs as much as he hates Jews. It was a framing device to make his ideas more palatable. And second, 90% of it was nonsense anyway. Maybe we should go through the whole thing on stream. He is also He is also the well-known host of the Stu Peters Show, where he regularly interviews prominent public officials and influencers about the uncomfortable topics that nobody else will cover, like Jews controlling the world. By redefining politics outside of the fake left-right paradigm and offering sensible solutions, such as extreme accountability. When he says that, he means murdering people, hanging them from a rope, quote unquote. To our most pressing problems, Peters has cast himself as being at the vanguard of the current realignment in conservative politics. And then there's a final page, the back of the book. Racial and cultural discrimination can have a lasting impact on a child's development and well-being. No fucking shit, really? It's important for our parents to help their children know the various differences that make up our world and to understand that no group is more significant than another. I mean, that's the message that he puts on the back of the book, but that's not the message that the book portrayed or communicated, and that's not the thing that he believes either, obviously. I think I've proven that unequivocally. He believes in racial superiority, obviously. The Meaningtons want kids to believe that one race or another is superior. No, nobody wants that except for you. But that's not God's best plan for society. It's really fun to be white, helps white children understand that even if they are not the majority globally, he's a minority group now, you see. It is fun to connect with others who have their same skin color. He's trying to portray himself as a minority. Seriously. Minority is a misnomer, of course. Minority doesn't necessarily mean the smallest number of people or whatever. Women are technically a majority group, I believe, but they are in a minority group in that they are discriminated against and mistreated all the time. Billionaires are a minority group in that there aren't very many of them, but they're not persecuted and mistreated by society. Doesn't necessarily mean the smallest group. Stu Peters is an evil human being. Straight up. That shit is fucking gross. Tell me what you think in the comments. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon.
I'm going to argue for the existence of God from the premise that moral good and evil really exist.
Okay.
They are not simply a matter of personal taste, not merely substitutes for I like and I don't like.
So he's saying, I'm going to argue from a perspective of morality is objective. That's incorrect. Morality is not objective. There is no objective source for morality. There is nowhere you could go to get an objective source of morality. And I know people like this say the Bible, but it is literally impossible to get your morality from the Bible because every position it espouses is reversed a chapter later. But okay, let's see what he says here.
Before I begin, let's get one misunderstanding out of the way. My argument does not mean that atheists can't be moral. Of course, atheists can behave morally, just as theists can behave immorally.
They're just stealing morality from Christians, right?
Let's start then with a question about good and evil. Where do good and evil come from? Atheists typically propose a few possibilities.
Good and evil have to come from somewhere? What the f*** are you talking about? Atheists propose possibilities?
Among these are evolution, reason, conscience, human nature, and utilitarianism.
Interesting. Okay. You know what I find particularly fascinating is fascism, which this guy, I'm very, very confident subscribes to right now. You tell me he's not a Trump supporter in the United States. Fascism is, at its heart, utilitarianism. Utilitarianism, the idea that whatever is good for the whole is good for the part. We should be stamping out people's rights because social differences, the ability to live life and experience it the way that you experience it is unacceptable. Being gay is wrong because that's not normal and you should be normal. That's utilitarianism. That's fascism at its heart. Conform or else.
I will show you that none of these can be the ultimate source of morality.
Bro, I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about when he says that. I don't know what that means.
Why not from evolution? Because any supposed morality that is evolving can change. If it can change for the good or the bad, there must be a standard above these changes to judge them as good or bad.
What does that mean? I feel like these people sit around beating each other off with ridiculous, nonsensical, moral questions that ultimately have no meaning whatsoever. Like the other day, I was listening to some right-wingers, I think, talk about how Kanye West decided to overturn the game board regarding Jews or whatever. He felt like he was being mistreated, so he's going to overturn the game board by saying Jews are evil. What does that even mean? You're giving me an analogy that means literally nothing. What is the game board in this scenario? What does it mean to overturn it? This is nonsense. There must be a standard above that morality by which we judge it. What do you mean by that? What do you mean above? I feel like you're using a word here that does not apply. Is it hierarchical? Are we ranking these things? What does it mean? It's like these people are using analogies and they're running away with those analogies and they simply don't make any sense at all anymore. Sengir, basically another term for game changer, I think. The way that he framed it, or the way that he the way Scott Adams said that he overturned the game board didn't make any sense at all. I honestly had no idea what he was trying to say, and he continued the analogy further to try to make it out like Kanye had a deeper plan and that the game board being turned over was part of that deeper plan. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, so morality must have something above it to judge it? What? What does that mean? I understand morality reasonably well. I'm not a dummy, and I feel like this makes no sense at all.
A standard above these changes to judge them as good or bad. For most of human history, more powerful societies enslaved weaker societies and prospered. That's just the way it was, and no one questioned it.
I think the slaves questioned it, but I appreciate that he's showing the Egyptians enslaving the Israelites and building the pyramids with slave labor. That did not happen. That's not real. Pyramids were not built with slave labor.
Now we condemn slavery, but based on a merely evolutionary model, that is, an ever-changing view of morality, who is to say that it won't be acceptable again one day?
Who's to say? We are to say. We push for morality to not change. But these people are pushing for it to change. PragerU is trying to change our current perception of morality. Christians are trying to change our current perception of morality. They have been for a long time. And they're pushing so hard in one direction now that they've wrapped back around to being absurd. I mean, they were always absurd, but now we have MAGA pastors saying this type of thing here.
The institution of slavery is not inherently evil. You guys are upset by that? Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know, just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk.
Point is that they've been trying to push the Overton window in one direction or another for a long time. And they've finally reached a point where they are actually arguing for slavery.
Slavery was once accepted, but it was not therefore acceptable. And if you can't make that distinction...
Well, slavery was acceptable in the Bible, of course, right?
Between accepted and acceptable, you can't criticize slavery. And if you can make that distinction, you are admitting to objective morality.
No, I'm not, actually, first of all. And second, why do you reject slavery? Why do you say slavery is bad? It's so funny that he picked that one thing to discuss in the context of morality, because that's something that the Bible outright endorses, says we should be doing. We should be keeping slaves, and it explains how to keep them. It also says we should be having abortions if,
by the way, guys, check out my new
wife
shop,
cheats on us, for example. We should have
I have
her
a bunch
get
of
an
really
abortion.
cool designs.
I
on
find
there.
it fascinating that he picked the one thing that the Bible most definitely endorses, and then claims that his objective morality says that you can't own slaves. That's not true. Your morality, your objective source does say that you should absolutely own slaves.
What about reasoning? While reasoning is a powerful tool to help us discover and understand morality, it cannot be the source of morality. For example, criminals use reasoning to plan a murder without their reason telling them that murder is wrong. And was it reasoning or something higher than reasoning that led those Gentiles who risked their life to save Jews during the Holocaust? The answer is obvious. It was something higher than reasoning.
I don't think I understand. It was higher than reasoning? Is he saying that, like, people who chose to help others during the Holocaust were putting their own lives at risk, and thus it was morality that was doing the thinking rather than their actual brains? I mean, I guess I can see that, but no, it was still their brains that were doing the thinking. They were still thinking with their brains. They just viewed it from a different perspective. They viewed it as the morally right thing to do, so they did it.
Because risking one's life to save a stranger was a very unreasonable thing to do.
Well, of course, there are all kinds of reasons for why we do what we do, why we make the decisions that we make, and why we view morality the way that we do. And our morality is largely built off of our ability to understand empathy, our ability to build models in our heads. You know, we couldn't always do that. There's a time when cavemen kind of gradually gained the ability to build a model. And it arose because it was beneficial for us to be able to plan ahead. a couple of people trying to take down a mammoth, and they get it between two cliff sides, and they plan ahead. They plan to have one of them stand at the end of the cliff with a big butterfly net while the other guy chases it through the little area. They've just made a plan. They've built a model in their heads, and they're going to execute this plan. That was the evolution of the ability to build models in our heads. And when we evolved that, we started putting ourselves in other people's shoes. We wanted to protect and help. And, we can see examples in nature of other animals trying to protect and help creatures of their pack or whatever. So it's not a conscious thing that exists necessarily. It's something that's existed throughout history. We've always, as creatures on Earth, wanted to protect others and help others. And our ability to build models in our heads has only strengthened that.
Nor can conscience alone be the source of morality. Every person has his own conscience, and some people apparently have none. Heinrich Himmler, chief of the brutal Nazi SS, successfully appealed to his henchmen's consciences to help them do the right thing in murdering and torturing millions of Jews and others. How can you say your conscience is right and Himmler's is wrong?
I mean, it's subjective, of course. Obviously, if it weren't subjective, if it were objective, then Himmler wouldn't have been able to say what he said and appeal to them like that. It wouldn't have made any sense if there was an objective morality. But there isn't an objective morality. You might think you're pulling from an objective morality, but you're not, and nobody else is.
If conscience alone is the source of morality, the answer is you can't. Some people say human nature is the ultimate source of morality, but human nature can lead us to do all sorts of reprehensible things.
Human nature is a source of morality? Who the fuck said that? No. The ability to build models in our heads is the source of morality. Empathy is the source of morality. Really, when you get down to it, the culture around us formed out our morality. And the culture around us largely supports two things. It supports bodily autonomy, your right to do whatever you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, and your right to swing your fist ends at the tip of my nose. Those are the two things, bodily autonomy and your right to swing your fist ends at the tip of my nose. Basically, I can do whatever I want to my body and you can't stop me. And I can do whatever I want as long as it doesn't affect you.
In fact, human nature is the reason we need morality. Our human nature leads some of us to do real evil.
No, it's the reason why we need laws.
And leads all of us to be selfish, unkind, petty, and egocentric. I doubt you would want to live in a world where human nature was given free rein.
I believe that, for the most part, people would survive and they would mostly do the right thing, for the most part. But I don't know. I mean, that's why we have laws. People are not avoiding breaking laws for fear of consequences by and large. I just don't want to break any laws. What laws would I want to break?
Utilitarianism is the claim that what is morally right is determined by whatever creates the greatest happiness for the greatest number.
This is what fascinates me. This is MAGA. This is MAGA. This is Nazi ideology. This is fascism. Utilitarianism is fascism. Utilitarianism is the idea that it's morally right to protect the group, to do the right thing for the group. And that's what fascism is at the end of the day.
Just a reminder, I would really appreciate it if you guys checked out my Patreon.
There's
if
more
you're not
to
going to donate,
fascism,
you don't
obviously.
have to, but
For
follow
example,
me there at the very least.
fascism
OwenMorgan.com/Patreon.
necessitates
just in case
a cult
some
of personality.
happens with the government.
It doesn't
or
work
whatever.
if there's no cult of personality.
It would be really good if
and that's
you
why
had some way
fascism
to
is fairly
connect with
new.
me and my
Authoritarianism
content. I'm
isn't
really
new.
concerned
but
about that.
fascism,
Maybe you should consider that for
the
other
brand
creators
of
too.
authoritarianism is only 100, 150 years old. Really 100 years old, basically. And the reason it's so young is because there wasn't a means by which to spread a cult of personality until fairly recently. We just got radio not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. We had the printing press, but there was a huge barrier to entry to print something. You couldn't just go do it. You needed specialized equipment, or you needed enough money to pay somebody who had specialized equipment to do it for you. And getting people to actually sit down and read the shit you wrote was its own uphill battle. So small groupings of cults appeared all over the place. Martin Luther, for example, had a cult following, but it couldn't grow as powerful as it could after the radio, certainly, and after the internet. There's a book called The Hitler Myth by Ian Kershaw, if you want to read about the cult of Hitler and how it formed and everything, and the means by which it propagated. Anyway, fascism requires a cult of personality to exist. And at the end of the day, the person who leads the fascist group is the one who determines what is best for society. So they implement a utilitarianism form of morality, and the leader determines what's best for society. Like Donald Trump is the exact same way. MAGA is the same way. Trump determines, or the Trump propaganda network, Fox News and everything else, determine what is best for society. And then MAGA people enforce it through utilitarian belief.
But to return to our...
for example, being gay. Being gay is banned in MAGA. Being, it's not, banned in the sense that you won't get fully embraced by MAGA if you're gay. Being trans is banned in MAGA. They define what is acceptable in the cult.
Creates the greatest happiness for the greatest number. But to return to our slavery example, if 90% of the people would get great benefit from enslaving the other 10%, would that make slavery right?
No. That's why utilitarianism is wrong.
According to utilitarianism, it would. We've seen where morality can't come from. Now let's see where it does come from.
My morality comes from bodily autonomy and utilitarianism. Bodily autonomy first, utilitarianism second. If there are 5 people in the waiting room of a doctor's office and they each need some kind of surgery, a transplant, a kidney, a lung, a liver, whatever, and I'm there as number 6 with perfectly healthy organs, the doctor, if he were utilitarian, would take my organs and give it to the other 5 people, taking one life to save 5 others. But in our society, bodily autonomy comes above all else. It always has. It's not right to do something like that, of course. So bodily autonomy comes first, and utilitarianism guides all other principles pretty much, whatever is best for society. It's best for society that I donate extra money to this charity or to help these people or whatever. That's the idea.
What are moral laws? Unlike the laws of physics or the laws of mathematics, which tell us what is, the laws of morality tell us what ought to be. But like physical laws, they direct and order something, and that something is right human behavior. But since morality doesn't exist physically, there are no moral or immoral atoms or cells or genes. Its cause...
You mean it's a concept, right?
Has to be something that exists apart from the physical world. That thing...
No, it means it's a concept. It has to be apart from the physical world. What the fuck is he talking about? It has to be apart from the physical world? In the same way that racism is apart from the physical world. Racism is not a physical thing, so it must be a spiritual thing. It's spiritual to be racist, right? Is that kind of what you're laying down for me?
Must therefore be above nature or supernatural.
Yes, racism is supernatural, right? In the same way, racist people are acting in a supernatural way that is closer to God. Is that what you're saying?
The very existence of morality proves the existence of something beyond nature and beyond man.
The very existence of racism proves the existence of God, because God is racist, because racism is supernatural, and God is supernatural, so racism is God.
Just as a design suggests a designer, moral commands suggest a moral commander.
Yeah, I mean, do I really need to draw out even further how fucking absurd this logic is? How little sense this makes? Like, what? What the fuck? Who is this guy?
Moral laws must come from a moral lawgiver. Well,
racist statements must come from a racist statement giver, because racist statements couldn't exist otherwise. Who's going to invent racist statements if not a racist statement giver?
Well, that sounds pretty much like what we know as God. So the consequence of this argument is that whenever you appeal to morality, you are appealing to God, whether you know it or not.
Whenever you appeal to racism, you are appealing to God, whether you know it or not.
You're talking about something religious, even if you think you're an atheist. I'm Peter Kraft, professor of philosophy at Boston College.
Don't tell me you're a professor of philosophy. That upsets me greatly. That is complete fucking nonsense. What was he even talking about? He literally said, thoughts are supernatural because they're not physical things. They're not made up of atoms. And that proves that God is real. What? Wait.
What? Stop it. Get some help.
For Prager University.
That made no sense. That's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.